Nikola Jokic has just joined one of the most exclusive clubs in NBA history. 3 MVPs, a milestone that places him in the company of basketball's absolute legends. And if we're being honest, it really should be 4. What he's done in his career so far is nothing short of historic. He became the fastest player in NBA history to reach 15,000 points, 7,500 rebounds, and 5,000 assists, obliterating Larry Bird's previous record by a staggering 90 games, and somehow, against all logic, he continues to improve. This season, he's averaging a triple-double, leading the Denver Nuggets to yet another dominant campaign. But the true essence of Nikola Jokic's greatness, it transcends mere numbers. His impact isn't just statistical, it's something deeper, something that forces us to rethink what an NBA superstar is supposed to look like. So when we break it all down, when we strip away the accolades and the hype, just how good is Nikola Jokic really? From overlooked prospect to NBA cheat code. Before Nikola Jokic became the undisputed master of basketball IQ, before he was carving up defenses, humiliating elite defenders with no-look dimes and making the game look almost too easy, he was an afterthought, a second-round pick, a backup big, a project. His selection in the 2014 NBA draft wasn't met with fanfare, analysis, or even mild excitement. In fact, his name was announced during a Taco Bell commercial, a fitting metaphor for just how little attention he commanded. But long before he ever stepped foot on an NBA court, he was just a kid in Sombor, Serbia, obsessed with 2 things, basketball and horse racing. Had life taken a slightly different turn, he might have been a professional horse breeder instead of a 2-time finals MVP and 3-time league MVP. His path to greatness wasn't just unlikely, it was downright absurd. Unlike Luka Doncic, who was dominating professional basketball as a teenager, or Victor Wembanyama, who was hailed as the greatest prospect since LeBron James, Jokic was never viewed as a future NBA star. Scouts recognized his skill, but his lack of athleticism raised red flags. At the 2014 NBA Draft Combine, his vertical leap measured just 17 inches, one of the lowest in recorded history. To put that in perspective, Zion Williamson's max vertical is nearly 3 times higher. Even among other ground-bound bigs, Jokic seemed unimpressive. Tim Connolly, the Nuggets executive who made the call to draft him, later admitted that optic bias, how a player looks rather than what they actually do, played a major role in why Jokic was overlooked. But what the numbers and athletic measurements couldn't capture was something far more valuable. Jokic's footwork was already elite. His hands were as soft as any big man in the league, and his passing, unbelievable. He wasn't just a good passer for a center, he was one of the best passers, period. The Nuggets originally drafted him as a stash pick. With their real focus on Jusuf Nurkic, Jokic wasn't even expected to be a factor in their plans, but that changed very quickly. The slowest superstar the NBA has ever seen. When Nikola Jokic finally arrived in the NBA, nothing about him made sense. He was a 7-footer who didn't dominate with power or speed. He played at a methodical, almost lazy pace, yet no one could speed him up. He was a center who didn't block shots or intimidate in the paint. He didn't have the elite length of a Rudy Gobert or the explosive athleticism of a Giannis Antetokounmpo. In his first year, Nuggets head coach Michael Malone wasn't sure how to use him. He started Nurkic over him, then tried playing them together. A disaster. But despite the awkward rotations, one thing became clear. Whenever Jokic was on the floor, Denver's offense just worked. By the end of his rookie season, his numbers were already turning heads. 16.5 points, 11.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists per game on elite efficiency. But it wasn't until his second season that everything clicked. Midway through the year, Malone made the call. Jokic was now the full-time starting center. The impact was immediate. The Nuggets transformed overnight into one of the league's most efficient offenses. His numbers skyrocketed, and suddenly, he wasn't just a good player, he was special. By his third season, Jokic had evolved into Denver's franchise player. The numbers kept climbing. 18. 5 points, 10.7 rebounds, 6.1 assists per game, and so did his influence. He led Denver to the playoffs for the first time in 6 years, snapping a decade-long series drought in a gritty 7-game battle against the San Antonio Spurs. And once the winning started, it never stopped. A championship, MVPs, and a historic takeover. By 2020, Jokic had led Denver to the Western Conference Finals. By 2021, he was the MVP, becoming the lowest drafted player in NBA history to win the award. And in 2022, he did it again, this time with even better numbers. That season, he became the first player ever to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. But in 2023, he finished the job. Jokic delivered the Denver Nuggets their first ever NBA championship, putting together one of the most dominant postseason runs in history. He became the first player ever to lead an entire playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists. His finals numbers were absurd: 30 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists per game as he completely dismantled the Miami Heat in 5 games. And now, 2 years later, he's still getting better. He's just added another MVP trophy to his collection, all while making the rest of the league look helpless in the face of his unique brilliance. Where does Jokic rank among the all-time greats? For decades, the NBA followed a formula. Guards controlled the perimeter, centers dominated the paint, roles were clearly defined. But Jokic has thrown all of that out the window. He's a point guard in transition, a post-up savant in the half-court, a pick-and-roll maestro who can play both sides of the action. So now the question isn't whether Jokic is an all-time great. That's already been answered. The real question is, how high can he climb? Is he a top 10 player of all time, a top 5 player? And if he wins another championship, if he keeps shattering records and redefining the game, how much further can he go? The NBA is running out of answers for Nikola Jokic. No matter the score, no matter the situation, if he's on the floor, the Nuggets are never out of it. The Charlotte Hornets just learned that the hard way. Up 104-100 with under a minute left, Charlotte was in control. They had played well enough to put themselves in position to win, but then in just 50 seconds, Jokic completely flipped the script. 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 perfect dime to Jamal Murray to ice the game. The Nuggets walked away with a 107-104 victory. Another clutch performance, another masterclass, another reminder that stopping Jokic isn't a game plan, it's a fantasy. If there's one word to sum up the Nuggets' 2024-25 season, it's Jokic, because at this point, he's not just the best player on the team, he is the team. By any metric, Nikola Jokic is putting together one of the most dominant seasons in NBA history, a walking triple-double, ranking top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists, all while shooting an absurd 47.5% from 3, a 7-foot, 280-pound center shooting like prime Steph Curry. On top of that, he's hitting 57% from the field and 81% from the line, making him one of the most efficient high-volume scorers the game has ever seen. But the stats alone don't do justice to his impact. His presence on the court is the difference between Denver looking like a championship contender or a team struggling to keep up. The numbers prove it: a 100-point on-off differential, an expected win metric of plus 23.7. When he's in the game, the Nuggets offense ranks in the 100th percentile. Every advanced stat tells the same story. Jokic isn't just valuable, he's the system. The ball movement, the shot making, the rebounding, the flow of the game, it all runs through him. He elevates everyone around him, and when he's locked in, there's no defensive scheme, no adjustment, no individual defender that can stop him. His latest performance against the Hornets was just another example. Coming into the game, he was already putting up video game numbers, averaging 29. 6 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 10.1 assists on an absurd shooting split, but somehow he found a way to level up against Charlotte. He recorded his 22nd triple-double of the season with 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 17 assists. He controlled the offense like a maestro, setting up his teammates all night and making sure everyone got involved. But this wasn't just another triple-double, this was history. With 28 points, 13 rebounds, 17 assists, 4 steals, and a three-pointer, Jokic became the first player ever to put up that stat line. A one-of-one performance from a one-of-one player. With Russell Westbrook out of the lineup, Jokic took on an even greater playmaking role, tying his season high with 17 assists. But it wasn't just his passing that stood out. His defense took a noticeable step up as well.